let's try another one. Let's try a C student. Mm. So, what are the tendencies, actions, consequences, and reality of a C student? So, the tendencies of a C student, someone who is probably lackadaisical in class, someone who tends to not pay much attention to the lesson, um, and that leads to actions of maybe instead of studying for that midterm or that final, maybe now this person is watching Netflix, watching whatever binge series they could come up with, or not studying at all. These are the actions, and what are the consequences? The consequences of a C student become now, because they didn't apply themselves here on their tendencies and actions, their consequences become when the exam comes. Now we're pressed for time. Now is real pressure mounting, and then the reality becomes the report cards are due. And when the report cards come back, or when the grade comes back on that final, we're now at a C student. So tendencies, actions, consequences tend to lend themselves to a reality of an identity that we accept. And so I live who I believe I am. That's a powerful statement, because how can a C student become an A student? If the C student believes that he is the C student or she is the C student, how do they change their identity from a C student to an A student if this is a belief? Again, this is all mental, because the devil understands that in order to get to an individual, he first must break down what's in the mental first. When you take control of the mind, then you can take control of the body. That's the vessel. Then when you take control of the mind, then you take control of the body. And so, in the mind of a C student, the one who believes this reality that I must be a C student, but I don't change my tendencies or actions at all. I don't apply myself to study harder, or I don't turn the TV off at this particular time in order to retain the knowledge that I need. Then how can they have the identity of an A student? So if you, I live who I believe I am. So if I believe I'm the A student, then all of a sudden, now my tendencies start to change a little bit. Now my tendencies become, oh, maybe I'm not just on my phone scrolling during the lecture, or maybe I'm, not only listening to the lecture, but I'm looking up other material to help what I'm learning in the lecture stick now. So now my actions have also changed to be more focused, goal oriented. The consequences now when I take my exam is I'm passing these with flying colors. And so the reality becomes that I am now the A student. But how do you develop a shift from a negative identity, or an identity that was given to you that you believe, to now a new belief. Romans 12:2 talks about how we need to come to God and offer our bodies as a living sacrifice and allow God to renew our minds in order to not conform to the patterns or superficial patterns of the world. And so, in doing that, that means that we have to surrender, we have to sacrifice. So, my C student before wouldn't sacrifice the actions of binge watching. Uh, binge watching Stranger Things, binge watching um, F1 racing, Formula racing. So they wouldn't surrender these things. But now the A student understands that, and he understands it with composure. See, this is the beauty of surrender. The beauty of surrender is that you do this now with composure because you understand what the consequences in reality will be when the mindset shifts from C to A. And so you do it willingly. You do it without regard to self because now you have removed yourself as the C student or the identity that you believed you were. You came to the end of self. You came to the end of that identity in which you once believed. And so let's let's try another one.